Hi, everybody, and good morning. I see a lot of you logging in and joining me. My name is Elisa Setmire. I'm your instructor for our Psych M01 class. Good morning. Good morning. Uh, can everyone hear me and see me okay? If somebody could give me a yes or like a thumbs up or something in the chat, that would be amazing. The chat is going to be your way to communicate with me as we go through this. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Lots of yeses. I love it. Thank you so much. Good morning. This is it's definitely different than we had planned for starting this semester, right? We were supposed to be in person and now we're online and who knows what the future will bring, but we will make the best of it. And I'm grateful that all of you are here with me this morning. Even if it's not in person, it's still better than nothing. So thank you so much for being on here early in the morning on a Wednesday. You have to forgive me. I'm fighting some kind of sickness. Hopefully it's not Omicron or Deltacron or Flurona or whatever. Hopefully it's nothing major, but I'm fighting something off. So forgive me for sounding so awful. But we'll get through it together. Welcome. Again, we're here for my intro psych Monday, Wednesday class. And I'm going to keep this day and time for our stream for at least the next 3 weeks. And then once we find out what's happening with the rest of the semester, we will pivot, right? We will either change the timing or keep it, or we'll be meeting in person. We will see what happens. But for now, we're going to approach this like a completely online course. And luckily for all of you, I teach Psych 1 online and have for many, many years. And so I'm very equipped and set up to do that. And so hopefully it will be a smooth transition and not a big deal at all. But welcome again. This is Twitch. For those of you who haven't been on it before, I know that most people use Zoom. And Zoom is probably better, but I've been using Twitch for a little while. It's kind of a fun pop culture platform. Sadly, we won't be playing any video games, but that would be fun as well, right? Though my video games are probably not the same video games you would all play. But we will take some time today. I'm going to go over a couple of things related to the course. We'll talk about some of the requirements for this week. And if at any point you have questions, this is a wonderful opportunity to ask me. You can put your questions into the chat, and I'm monitoring that on my phone and also on my computer. So if you do have questions, I will get to them and answer them for you. If you're confused about something, please feel free to ask. And if you have questions afterward, you can always email me. I am here. I'm a real person, and I am happy to get back to you and help you out. So again, at some point today, make sure that you put your first and last name in the chat. That will be how I track who is here. If you are subscribed, and a couple of you have figured this out, like Zoe, you just did that. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel on Twitch, you don't have to put your first and last name because I can download a list of those of you who were here. So I appreciate those of you who took the time to do that. If you haven't yet, it's a few steps, but it allows you to subscribe for free if you know somebody who has an Amazon Prime account. And if you don't, I sent out a link to a free student Prime. But the advantages are a lot. One, it drastically minimizes the ads. And I don't know about you, but I can't stand ads. And so that's a big bonus. And then the other really big thing for me is it makes my life much easier tracking your attendance. So I greatly appreciate those of you who took the time to do that. And if you haven't done it yet, please try and do that at some point. And I'll put that reminder in the chat and show you the instructions for that in a minute. But let's head over to Canvas together and take a look. And if you made it to here, if you made it to our course homepage, you should be in really good shape. And this is our homepage. This is what it looks like. And again, I'm approaching this class as if we were 100% online. And if we change that in 3 weeks, we will adjust again. But this is our course homepage. And what you'll notice is it's organized by weeks, right? So again, for now, just assuming that we are fully online, I've organized it all the way to the end of the semester. But there's a couple of different things up here. There's the mandatory orientation, which is a great place to start, as it says start here. There's some contact information, help and campus resources, course documents and videos. And then after that, everything is just week by week by week. So what I wanted you to do, and hopefully you started here, is click where it says start here. and go to the mandatory orientation materials. And you'll notice there's a lot of different kind of help and resource related things that I put on here for you. Make sure that you read over the syllabus and the welcome letter that I sent out by email. If you didn't get it by email, I also posted it here for you. There's some information about the textbook, which I'll talk about in a moment. But the textbook is something that you're going to need to get right away, right? The ebook that we're using will allow you to access all of the quizzes and exams that we'll take over the course of the semester. So really important that you get the ebook right away. And if you click on this, I have some information here for you. I have the website that you can purchase it on. I know textbooks are expensive. Most psychology books are like $250 or more. Ours is only $78. So I know that seems like a lot, but it's actually quite affordable as far as psych books go. I wrote it myself, which took me a long time. I'm very proud of that. But my goal with that was to keep the cost of it very, very low and to tailor it exactly to what we're doing. So hopefully you find both of those things to be true. But definitely get the book as soon as possible. You're going to need to buy it and register it. And then once you do that, you'll be able to take that mandatory orientation quiz and stay in the class. So make sure that's probably order of business number 1. And I sent that out in the announcements this week and last week. But make sure that you get the book. You're also going to want to read over the syllabus. So let's open that together just for a moment here. And with the syllabus, this has all of the information that we're going to be going over the course of the semester, what your grades are made up of, and all of that. It has my information. My name is Elisa Setmire. You can call me Elisa. You can call me Professor Setmire. Dr. Setmire is alive, but I won't be mad at you for it. But Elisa or Setmire is what most people call me. Email is always the best way to get a hold of me. I check my email constantly. Right now, I'm not in my office at work very often. I'm teaching from home, so the odds and likelihood that at some point one of my 4 cats or my dog join in our stream are pretty high. So hopefully that's kind of fun. One of the advantages of being at home. There's a description and objectives and learning outcomes. I'm going to let you look over that all on your own. Don't forget to get the ebook. As I said, I just showed you and talked about, that's probably, as I said, the first thing that you're going to want to do. There's some computer and system requirements. If your computer is within the last like 3 to 5 years, you should be just fine. Just make sure that you have good internet connection and a way to play like audio and video files. There's some class conduct and policies and campus policies. Make sure that you read through all of these. I'm kind of glossing over it quickly. But I'm really committed to a very inclusive learning environment. I want all of you to feel safe and comfortable within our class. If we meet in person, I hope you feel safe and comfortable in person. But for now, let's try and be really respectful of each other and mindful of everybody as we progress through the semester. Really important for me, I'm a stickler for late work. Right, so the way that our course is going to be set up, at least for now while we're online, is that you have the entire span of a week to complete materials. So the week will open up Monday morning and then close Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And so if you miss something, if something is not turned in by that deadline, it is unfortunately too late for you to turn it in. Now, I know that with COVID and with the world being what it is, there's a lot of unpredictability. If you find that something has come up, I am willing to be flexible and work with you, but I have one hard rule, and that is you have to contact me before the weekly deadline. So if you email me Sunday night at like 11:50 at night and say like I had an emergency, is there any way I could have one extra day? I will work with you and I'm flexible. If you email me Monday morning after the deadline, I will tell you I'm sorry, but it's too late. So just if things come up, I know life is definitely a challenge right now. Please make sure that you email me before the weekly deadline, and I would be happy to work with you. Please don't copy or cheat. There's some campus policies which aren't as relevant for us right now since we're not in person. Your grade is made up of a couple of different things. You have a mandatory orientation quiz, which I'll show you in a couple minutes. But this is something that I'd like you to take before this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. It's my way of making sure you have your book, that you've read the syllabus, that you're getting going on the course. Please make sure you do that or you will be at risk for being dropped from the class. You will do a discussion every single week, and including a small introductions discussion this week as a way to kind of help get to know each other. There'll be 3 little self-assessments that you'll take throughout the semester. These are going to be things like after our first exam, like how are you feeling about your grade? Is there anything you could have done better? What are areas you could improve on? These are going to help you to kind of reflect on your effort and progress in the course so far. There'll be a closing assignment that you'll do the last week of the semester, and then you'll take 4 exams. And those things together are going to make up your grade. And I'm a very, very organized person, maybe too much so at times. And so you hopefully will always know what is expected of you. And we'll go over that every single week when we do these live streams. I'll remind you of what's due each week and give you a chance if you have any questions to ask about them. So the unfortunate part about the book is it is an ebook. So it has a unique access code. And so what that means is every time that you log into it, it's going to track your grades and your attendance. So unfortunately, it's not something that is carried by a library because it is an e-text that is kind of consumable in a way. It is linked to your scores and your grades. So unfortunately, no. But again, it's a very, very affordable compared to the typical psych book. I know that's a challenge for a lot of people. Textbooks are expensive. I understand, but unfortunately is something that you will need. And if you can't afford it, there are some classes that have zero cost textbooks that you might check into. Here's your grade distribution. If you have a memo with access, make sure that you send that to me as soon as possible. I also have on here, these optional Twitch live streams are live, so they're not captioned live. If you find that you do need captions live, you can always contact me and we can try and work with access to see if we can get an interpreter. I will be posting recordings of these afterward, and those will have captions. So you can always watch that afterward if you find that you need those. If you need some help, I have some student tech support resources, some college information about add and drop dates. And then after that is the course schedule of reading. So each week what we have due, what you're reading, and what you're doing all the way through the end of the semester. And again, if things change and we go back in person, which is so hard to know right now, we will, maybe alter this and go back to a more traditional format. But for now, all we can do is what we have in front of us. So we will approach it like a fully online class. So that's the syllabus quickly. Obviously, make sure that you look over it a little bit more on your own. But are there any other questions for the moment? I obviously have quite a few more things to go through with you. But any questions? If you have anything, feel free to put those in the chat, and I would be happy to answer them for you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep going, but it's a closing assignment in place of a final. No, so we have 4 exams over the semester. The 4th exam is just a 4th test, so it's not cumulative. So the closing assignment will be that cumulative element. It'll allow you to reflect back over the semester. So you'll have a 4th exam on the last unit, and then the closing assignment will be that little cumulative piece rather than giving you a cumulative final. So it kind of goes with it in a way. I hope that helps, Emma. I have an Emma. I have 3 daughters. One of my daughters is an Emma. Emma, Paisley, and Kaya, right? All of them at school right now, right? Okay. So I'm going to keep going. Again, if you think of anything, please feel free to put that in the chat. So once you've read through the syllabus, once you've purchased your ebook, the next thing to do is that mandatory orientation lecture. And I have that right here if you click on it. And again, I've been teaching online for a while now. And so these are all kind of from my online course, and we're transitioning to that together, at least for now. Sorry to keep saying that, but it's true for the moment. So you'll notice with these lectures, there's 5 tabs at the top, right? So make sure that you click on each one of these. With each tab, you can listen to me reading it to you. I can read it out loud to you with audio, or you can read it yourself. But on this first page, giving you an overview, there's 5 things to do. You're going to read and listen to these subsequent pages, read through the syllabus, and then you'll complete the quiz, which is on the ebook site. And so here's a link to that if you haven't saved it. Find me and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. If you're watching this, then you kind of have figured at least one of those out. And I gave you a bunch of instructions here, which I'll show you again in a moment, on how to find me on both of those platforms. I use a lot of YouTube and Twitch in this class, and so I think it's remarkably easier for you if you have found me and know how to access those things quickly. As far as the course organization goes, each week what you'll do is you will read a chapter from our textbook. You'll read the lectures and watch the lecture videos for the week. You'll do a discussion topic on Canvas. And then in addition to those things weekly, right, you'll do 4 exams, those 3 assessments, and a closing assignment, kind of like we just talked about, but giving you a little bit more about the organization of the course. I gave you some information about myself, which I hope you read through. I'm a huge football fan. I'm obsessed with football. I just finished all my fantasy football seasons. I came in second, fourth, and 8th. I don't want to talk about the 8th. But yeah, I love football. I'm a huge Tom Brady fan and have been forever. That guy will never stop. He'll be 80 and playing football. I'm obsessed with escape rooms. I think there was somebody who wrote that they had done 130 of them in their introductions discussion. I've only done 92, but I've done 92. I love escape rooms. I don't know if anyone else is obsessed with them either, but they're one of my absolute favorite things to do in the world. I love food. I'll probably talk about food way too much in this class, but I give you a little bit of information about me so that you know who's teaching the course. Some computer requirement stuff. If you're struggling with your computer, some of these things might be helpful. And then on the last page, if you still need help, I gave you the phone number for Canvas. They're there 24/7, so you can always reach out to them. If you're having trouble with the textbook specifically, there's some information here about who to reach out to for the book. That's a different platform than Canvas. And then, of course, you can always email me, right? If you ever have questions, I'm here. Feel free to email me. I check my email all the time. But make sure you read through all of that a little bit more in detail. And then once you have your book and everything, you can go take the quiz. And that's something that I'll show you again in just a moment. So click through and read through all these things. There's the syllabus and the welcome letter. We talked about the textbook information. If you're still feeling confused, I made a little video overview of our course. You could watch that. Here's that orientation lecture and quiz. There's some frequently asked questions that I've compiled over the years that people have asked me. I made a little student lounge even where you guys can all go together and ask each other questions and talk about things related to the course, if that's helpful for you. A few other things. Here's the information about finding me on Twitch and YouTube. And I spent a lot of time trying to make these instructions clear. It's a little confusing to do the first time, but once you have linked your Twitch and Amazon Prime accounts together, it's quite simple after that, right? So I gave you how to find me on Twitch. And again, if you're watching this right now, you clearly figured that out. Here's some instructions on how to link your accounts. I even found a video that I thought was really helpful for those of you who are more visual. But please try and do that if you can. Again, it makes my life so much easier. There's a lot of you between my multiple classes, so not having to write down each of your names is definitely helpful. There's more technology assistant stuff, some stuff about setting your Canvas notifications, how to find your grades and use them as a learning opportunity. I've put a lot of resources in here for you, so if you're confused, make sure you look these over. They should be really, really helpful. Okay. Any questions at all for now? Any questions? I'll put that in the chat here. Any questions at all? No, I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry for that, but I want to make sure that you all know where everything is and know what to expect. I'm going to take you to the ebook site here in just a moment, and we'll go over that just a little bit. None from you. Thank you. Right. Hopefully you're all doing well. I miss being able to see all of your faces. It's been almost 2 years. When we go back in person, it'll be strange. It's been such a long time. Oh, great. I'm glad it's all clear. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. Okay, so if you're on our homepage, I gave you a link right here to the ebook site. You're going to want to bookmark that, especially once you buy your book and register it. But the ebook site is something that we're going to be using pretty heavily. So you're going to want to make sure you save that. I opened it in another tab here, so let me go to that. Here we go. How old are my daughters? 7, 7, and 9. Right. So I have twins that are 7. They look nothing alike. And then I have a daughter who's 9. And my 9-year-old got a cell phone for Christmas. She's very, very excited with her life right now. So can't believe she got a phone at 9, but it's so much fun to text her and harass her. It's one of my favorite things to do now. But 9 and 7 and 7. And then, as I said, I have 4 cats. Whiskey, Squash, Rolly, and Binks, and then a dog named Oso. Oh yeah, they are a handful, but they're beautiful and wonderful in a handful. When they're all teenagers, I might have to leave, but for now, I'm enjoying it. So this is our ebook site, and once you've purchased your copy, they have you log in with your access code. There's kind of a weird page here. You click this play button. Make sure you select the right section of our class. We are the 35567 section. And then this is what the welcome page looks like, right? And so what you'll see up here at the top is there are the chapters, which is the book. There's some additional resources that might be helpful, especially if we're back in person. The exams, and then there's a little grade book on here, right? So the chapters is where you will find the ebook. And you should be reading these chapters as we go along. And again, I wrote the book. Hopefully you can kind of feel and hear my voice in it. I probably tell more stories than I should for a formal book, but that's just my personality. So for example, if we click on chapter 1, you see you can jump to different sections up here at the top. Anything that is highlighted is a definition that you can go over. There's images, of course, right? But make sure you read through this. This is a kind of traditional textbook. There are some boxes and things in here to kind of highlight different pieces of information, little apply it boxes. How can you connect this to your life in some way, pop culture connections, but make sure that you read through the chapters as we go. And then the other big thing on here is the exams. So remember that before the end of this week, you need to take the mandatory orientation quiz. This is really important. This lets me know that you've done all of these components, you understand what's going on in the course. So when you're ready, you will hit begin your attempt. And you'll notice you have 15 minutes to complete the exam. You only get 1 attempt, but you can use anything at your disposal, your notes, your book. You can use anything that you need to. The syllabus might be helpful for this. So click begin your attempt. And what you'll see here is there are 10 questions on here, and you'll see the time is already ticking down. So you want to be mindful of the time. When you run out, it will stop you. But let's see, let's go through a couple of these together. Freebies, right? Which is the not true about your instructor? Your instructor definitely does not hate football. And then you need to save your answer. Once you save it, you'll notice it turns like an orange color. This course is self-paced, allowing you to work ahead at your own pace. That is not true, right? This course is organized week by week. Save your answer. And so when you go through these, you can skip. Like I could skip ahead to number 5. I could skip ahead, and it'll show you the ones you skipped are in gray. But make sure that you've saved all of your answers before you submit it. And when you're done, you can hit I am finished, submit for a grade. And the ebook site will give you a grade right away. Right? I got a shameful 2 out of 10. In all fairness, I only answered 2, but a shameful 2 out of 10, correct. And it'll show you the ones you got right and wrong. And I want to point something out. Your grade from this does not automatically go into Canvas. I wish that it did, and hopefully one day it will. But your grade does not automatically go over. So what will happen is once the deadline for exams and things have passed, I will bring the scores into Canvas. So as long as you see a grade in your ebook gradebook on here, you're in good shape. And then I will bring those into Canvas once the deadline has passed. But this ebook site, you should be using it all the time. You should be reading the chapters, taking the quizzes and exams on here. Definitely bookmark it. But if you haven't gotten the ebook, make sure you do that right away. You will need it in order to take this quiz, which is due before this Sunday night, and a requirement to stay in the class. So again, those are the big things for now, right? Get going on the mandatory orientation materials, purchase your copy of the ebook, and then once you've done those things, you can start on week number 1. And I have it organized week by week, so if you click on week number 1, It will take you directly to everything you need to do for this week. How long did it take for me to make and put out your textbook? It took me 2 years to write it. 2 years to write it. It took a long, long time, and then to work on the site was like another year. So maybe like 2 to 3 years in total. So very proud of that. That was especially I'm not an amazing writer, right? My partner teaches English. She's the Englishy one. But yes, it was very, very exciting, and I really wanted to do that. I wanted to do it for a long time, so I was excited to get that opportunity. So for each week, as I said, your main goal is you're going to have one chapter, and so you'll read the chapter in the ebook, as we just looked at. And then I have two different kind of lecture materials for you. One is a typed up written lecture, and so it's in that same 5-tab format, right? So the first page will always be objectives and summary, and again, you can listen to it if you'd like. The second page is going to be beyond the book. So these are going to be videos or pieces of information that are beyond the book that I think are relevant and interesting. So make sure you watch any videos that I give you. Click on any links that are in here. All of those things are going to be really helpful for you. Somebody asked, if you bought the book from the Moore Park bookstore, do you still get the access code? Yes. So when you buy the ebook from the bookstore, they should have sent you an access code, or you should have been given an access code. If you don't have one, you might want to contact the bookstore right away. Yeah, if you bought it from there, they should have given you an access code as well, unless you bought the physical copy, in which case you might contact them and see if you can return it in exchange for an ebook, or you could reach out to me if you're struggling with that, and I can help you try and troubleshoot that a little bit. The third page is going to be in pop culture, so just pop culture connections to what we're covering. The fourth page is always going to be key terms and review. These are the terms that you need to know from this chapter for the exam. So when we get closer to the first test, we'll obviously talk about this more, but these are the terms that you will need to know for the exam from that chapter. And then the last page is always going to be application. Now that you've read all this, how can you apply it to your life in some way? So make sure you read through this lecture, click on all of the links, explore anything that I put in there. You're also going to want to watch the lecture video. Now, what I did is I recorded a lecture video as if we were meeting in person. And so it's me lecturing to PowerPoint slides. You're going to want to take notes on this. These are going to be things that will appear on the first exam. And so make sure as you're watching these, you're taking notes, or at least paying attention and knowing that you can go back and watch it again if you need to. So the way that I would approach it is I would read the ebook chapter first. And then either one of these are kind of interchangeable, but I'd probably just follow the order that they're on here. Once you've done all of the reading and watching of the videos, you'll do the discussion for the week. So for discussion number 1, we're looking at chapter 1. And you'll see there's some instructions and requirements up here at the top. I always make a video for you. Again, I use a lot of YouTube and Twitch. So make sure that you watch these videos. What I do in them is I go over the prompts, give you some more information, some reminders, and some tips. So I definitely recommend watching these for each discussion. And then you're going to respond to my prompt, right? So I've given you a couple of questions related to chapter 1. And when you're ready, you'll hit reply right here, which will bring up a box and allow you to type your response, right? So not only are you replying to my questions, but you're also going to reply to a classmate. So let's say, this is Anna or Anna. I say I really like her definition. I'm going to hit reply and reply to her, right? So you're going to want to read at least 5 of your classmates' posts, and then you reply to one of them to get those 2 points of credit. So the discussions are worth 15 points total, 13 points for your responses to me, and 2 for your responses to a peer. Somebody asked, what do you recommend taking notes on during the lecture? Do we need to know specific dates or names, or just overall concepts? So what I would recommend that might really help you is, remember just a moment ago when we were looking at chapter 1, right? So this chapter 1 lecture right here, if you click on that, on that 4th page, the key terms and review, these are the terms that you need to know from this chapter. So what you could do is try and pay close attention. These are the things that you're going to need to make sure that you understand. So these are the terms and concepts from chapter 1 that you'll really need to focus on. And you'll kind of hopefully get better at identifying that as we go through the semester. But what you might do is write these things down and look for those specifically. Those are the terms that will be on the exam. So, just kind of general concepts and terms, specifically though, the ones that are on that 4th page are going to be the ones you'll want to focus on. Okay. So for this week, those are your things to do, right? You have the kind of couple of prerequisites with buying the book and the orientation quiz. Read chapter 1, do the chapter 1 lectures and lecture video, complete discussion number 1, and then there's a weekly wrap-up checklist for every week. You're welcome, no problem. And so for every week, make sure that you've done all of these things, right? So for this week, again, chapter 1, the Canvas video, the lecture video, discussion 1, the mandatory orientation, the discussion, and then there's an optional thing which we'll talk about in a second. You'll notice on Canvas, and this is kind of a pet peeve of mine, each exam is 4 chapters. So every 4 weeks you'll take an exam. So when we get to week number 4, we'll talk about that first test. But yeah, every exam has 4 chapters on it. 4 chapters, 4 exams, so kind of 4 little units throughout the semester. As I was saying, the Canvas doesn't mark these off. So they have this little to-do list over here, but you have to click it off yourself. So once you've done the orientation quiz, you can, oh, I've done that, and you can eliminate it. Kind of silly that it doesn't do it for you, but a couple of you asked me about that, so I'll just remind you. But the last thing that we have in here is every week what I will do is give you a 2-point extra credit question for joining me live here on Twitch. I really hope that you're here anyway. Since we were meeting in person, you should have had this time free. But for joining me on here live, I will give you a 2-point extra credit question that you can answer. And so where you will do that is under each week. So right here is the optional Twitch extra credit number 1 question. So let me give you that question. I'm going to put it here in the chat. So I'm going to write it in the chat. I've already written it down, so I didn't have to do that. Okay, here we go. And this is something that's kind of piggybacking on the discussion for this week, so you can use it in both places if you would like. That's totally fine. A little bit of redundancy, but that will hopefully help you to remember. So the extra credit question for this week is name and describe one of the subfields of psychology. And I put that here in the chat. Name and describe one of the subfields of psychology. And when you're ready to answer that, you'll go back to Canvas. You'll click on Twitch extra credit number 1 right here. And then here are the instructions, right? And so basically make sure that at some point today, you put your name in the chat here for our live stream. Again, if you're subscribed to my channel, you don't need to do that because I can download a name, download a list of your names for attendance. But make sure that you put your name in there if you haven't already. And then up here at the top, click Start Assignment. That's going to bring up a little text box where you can type your response. And I grade these throughout the week, so if you do it early and get it wrong, I have a chance to let you know that it was incorrect and you might still have time to resubmit it. But when you're ready, you'll hit Submit Assignment, and you get a little confetti burst, which is very exciting, I think. It's the little things in life, right? And then hopefully those 2 points of extra credit as long as you answered the question correctly. So make sure that you do those things. Again, every single week, I have everything organized for you under that week. Check the little wrap-up checklist to make sure that you've done everything. You can also look at the announcements that I send out where I give you all of those tips and things to remember. Also, if you haven't already, and a lot of you haven't, please try and take a moment to go through those instructions on how to subscribe on Twitch. I think it will be really helpful for both of us as we go through the semester. We will have our next, let me put this in the chat, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday next week. Next Wednesday is the 19th. So Wednesday 1/19 at 8:30 in the morning. So we'll plan on every Wednesday morning at least through the end of the month. And then by then we should have a better idea of what's going to happen with either in person or staying virtual. I have no information on that yet, but I promise as soon as I know anything, I will let you know. So for now, get going on the materials for this week, right? Work on the subscribing, work on getting the book, mandatory orientation, and then start on week number 1. And I hope all of you are doing okay. I hope that you're not feeling too overwhelmed. I hope that you're healthier than I am. It's been a tough week. My whole house has been sick. I hope it's just a cold, but it's impossible to know. So we're all kind of quarantining and trying to stay healthy and safe. But take care of yourselves. Get going on the materials for this week. If at any point you're confused, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hang out for the next, maybe 8 or 9, 10 minutes or so. And if you do have any questions, you can put them in the chat. If you are feeling good about everything, you are welcome to go ahead and take off. We're kind of done at this point, but we'll plan on like 30 to 45 minutes in general for these live streams. And again, this is a fantastic opportunity for you to ask me questions if you do have any. Thank you. Thank you all so much for the well wishes. I actually feel not too bad, but I definitely would love to feel better. So thank you. I appreciate that. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And again, get going on everything. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. Good. I'm glad it was helpful. I will be on here next week. Next week, we will talk about some feedback from week 1 and then what are the things for week 2 and so on. But have a wonderful week, everyone. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out. If you do have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And I will see you all next week. I forgot to mention too, I will post a recording of this when we're done today. When we're done with this lecture today, I will post it right here under the extra credit assignment. I will post a recording of it. It sometimes takes me a couple hours because I have to download it and then upload it, but I will post a recording of that as well. So if you missed part of this or you need to watch it later, it will be posted for you on Canvas. What you could do, so you said you joined a little late. So once this is over, which it'll be over in the next 5 or 6 minutes or so, I'm just waiting for any questions. If you, once it's over, what you can do is go back and watch the recording. So I would definitely recommend that. I went through everything a little bit, but since you're subscribed, I see that you went ahead and subscribed. I have your name down for attendance. So as soon as it's over, you might consider going back and just watching it from the beginning. I went through kind of all the requirements and everything for the course. So you can always watch that later. And then I did give the extra credit question up a little bit in the chat that you can answer for the 2 points for joining me. Yeah, no problem. And I am still here. If any of you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, of course, feel free to take off if you're feeling good and get going on all the stuff for this week. All right, it looks like there's only a couple of you left on here, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up so I can start downloading it to post on our Canvas page. But thank you all again so much for being here with me today, and I will see you all next Wednesday morning for our